We've done lots of puzzles in our somewhat advanced group, right? We touched many different ideas, from intermediate moves to back rank to pins to forks to discovered check. Have we did discovered threats, Adi? Discovered threats a little bit? Many ideas. In a real game, we have all those ideas somehow mixed. Like nobody is holding a sign saying, okay, now choose idea 1, 2, and 5, and that's how you build your combination. We have to take everything in consideration and then see. And many times, positions can be very similar with some one tiny difference that makes a combination possible or impossible. Let's first of all start with this position. White is to play. I will wait a minute, 2 minutes and see, well, what should white be playing here? What would you play, Isabel?
Bishop takes f7.
Okay, and if the rook captures?
Queen captures c5.
So what idea would that be? Discovered, right? Yeah, or uncovered, but and winning, right? Okay, perfect. Charlie, was this your idea as well?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Now, what about this position? What should white play here? Should white play the same way? Win the queen? No? Why no?
If the rook captures, the rook will come down to f1. f8.
Excellent job. Very good. And you know, this is something really important about chess, the ability to visualize the position several moves from now. So what Isabel was basically saying is that capture, 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 all those are really forcing, and black has checkmate on the back rank. Positions is almost the same, but, well, not really working, right? Tiny difference. The pawn on h3 is no longer on h3. Okay, now what about this position? Do you already know, Adi?
The game will
So look, when the pawn was on e3, it was checkmate, but right now the pawn moved, right? Tiny differences, and white is actually winning. Pawn endgame, extra pawn, right? So white is actually going to be winning this position with his extra pawn. White is to play. Any more hands? Yes? Queen g2. And what are you going to win with queen g2? A bishop. Okay. The king is under a check and the bishop, right? White is to play here. Let me maximize it. White's to play. Yes?
queen to d7 check.
Very similar to the idea before, right? Only that instead of going to g2, you go to b7 and the king is under check and you're going to win the bishop this way, right? So it's basically, what's the difference between those positions? They are very similar ideas with tiny differences. But the idea is very much the same. For example, I can take this bishop put the bishop over here. What would white be playing now? Yes?
Queen to g4.
Excellent job. Exactly same thing. We will find a way to attack the bishop and the king. By the way, this is something quite important for games that you're playing. Whenever you play a game and you see pieces that are undefended, in a long run, pieces that are undefended are big targets to what? A double attack, a discover check, some sort of skew that finds several pieces not defended. I mean, having pieces that are undefended for too long, many times is going to cost some material to some players. Just something important to remember. Okay, white is to play here. I'll let you answer, but just one more minute, okay? You will answer. What's our idea? Knight to g5. Okay. What's your idea? Oh, no, yeah, no. You were raising your hand before, right? Knight to f6, you mean? Knight to f6. Okay. So we have knight g5, knight f6. Yes, Adi?
Rook takes h7.
Okay. Okay, rook take h7. Yes?
Rook takes h7.
Rook take h7.
Pawn to b3.
Pawn to b3. But why pawn to b3? I mean, you can just...
So that the bishop can...
But you can just take your bishop immediately.
Oh.
Okay, so let's start with the moves. So I understand knight g5. It's attacking the queen and attacking the h7 pawn, right? But what should black play after knight g5? Check and take the knight. Why not queen to g4? Check and take the knight. It's a better move, right? You want to play the most straightforward line, not to allow many different possibilities. Okay, so this was one thing. Knight g5 was suggested. Then knight f6 is actually not a bad move. Knight f6, black is going to play, well, white is threatening checkmate. That's no joke, actually. Checkmate is a serious threat. Black will play here, white will take. Okay, white is a bit better because he has a somewhat extra pawn. I mean, the pawns are equal, but those are not very pretty. But probably very reasonable chances to make a draw here. Okay, now what about this move that was suggested by few of you? Black has two possibilities. Let's start. First possibility. What is the most logical move here for black to start considering? Yes?
King takes h7.
Take the rook. No, of course, that's the first move you have to consider. And what is white going to play? Yes?
Knight to g5.
Knight to g5 and win the queen. And white is going to be a piece up. A piece up for white. Same position as before, only that white has a knight. So this is going to lose the queen, so you have to think about the other alternative. What happens after king to g8? Yes? Which move white will play here?
To g5.
Knight can move to g5, but once again, remember before, black will play check and take. Yes?
The knight could move to f6, yeah, and then
That's a bit better, no? Well, what black should play here? What black should play here?
the
The king is in check. So what should we play?
Oh, the king. He could move down to
To where?
7. No, wait. He could move to F8.
F8.
Yeah.
And what about this one?
Oh
Yes, Isabel?
yeah. He's in check.
The king is in checkmate. Knight F6 is checkmate. Right? The king is in check. The rook is protected. The king cannot go to the 7th rank because of the rook, and he cannot go to F8 because of the bishop. So rook take H7 is either checkmate in one move or winning a piece. Basically, giving the rook for the queen, and white is a piece up, right? Okay. So was this forcing enough? The way I see it, it was forcing enough. Okay, now similar position, somewhat similar position, but tiny different. I take this pawn and put it here. Almost identical. Look, I just changed one pawn in the position. There was a pawn on H7 and I just moved it to G7. Yes?
Rook E8.
Okay, what would black play?
Black would go up to H7.
Uh-huh. And what?
Knight will go to G5.
Perfect.
King will-
Perfect. 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 Nothing to say. Believe me, the less that I speak, it means that the move that you have suggested is perfect. Yeah. Check. One move, king H7. Knight G5, check. King goes somewhere. Knight take.
Yeah.
Right?
Three.
As straightforward as possible. Now, maybe what will be stronger than such continuation? Only if you have checkmate in 1 or 2 moves or 3 moves. I don't see any checkmate, so no point in starting to say, well, maybe I'll play this, maybe. No, you just win the queen straightforward. If there is a checkmate, well, bravo, there is a checkmate, but there isn't. All right. Well, what about, let's change the position once again. And I was actually very, very nice to you at the beginning because I was helping you a bit. What about this position? White is to play here. This is tricky. You know or no? Yes?
Knight F6.
Knight F6. And what's your idea with Knight F6?
So then the only possibility for the black is to move to G8 and then
To move to where?
G8.
Knight to F6 and black will move to G8?
No, but no.
That wasn't a, yes, what? So,
Knight F6.
what is the threat?
The threat is Rook H7.
Isabel, do you agree? The threat is Rook H7. How can black prevent Rook H7? Yes?
Checkmate.
Can black prevent this move? Not really. And okay, to be precise, black should play queen g4, and then he's going to lose the queen for a knight, but he's not getting checkmate. What was the difference? Why was it crucial? Why was it crucial to put the pawn here? Because if you remember in the very first position that I showed you, black had a defense to the idea of knight f6. The defense was, what is black going to play here? Yes?
Queen F5.
Queen f5. One different square for a pawn makes the position really, really, really different, right? Okay. Let's look at those types of positions. Let's look at this position. Why? Oh, yes. White is to play. Okay, this is pretty straightforward, right? What shall we play?
Queen to h7 checkmate.
Queen to h7 checkmate, right? I agree. Now, we're going to do it really slowly. Now let's say this is the position. What shall we play? Yes. Queen h1, king g8. So basically, you only needed to see one move, right? Queen h1, because you already had this position before in your head. Yes, Charlie?
I think the original one other.
Queen h5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, Queen h5, but it's same idea. All right. Now, what about this position? White is to play. Yes?
Rook to h8 check,
Very good. The king will capture.
then queen to h1 check.
Exactly. So basically, this is one of the most important ideas in chess, what we are doing now. Basically, we understand the pattern, and then we understand how to get to it, right? It's pattern recognition, something incredibly important, not just in chess, but we'll speak about chess now. It basically tells us that we don't need to study everything from the very start. We know something, right? For example, I'll give you my brilliant thinking. If you know how much 4 plus 4 is, it's 8, right? 8. Excellent job. Okay, and so if I ask you how much 24 plus 24, all you need to know is 20 plus 20 is 40. You already know that 4 plus 4 is 8. So it's about 48, right? 48. A bit higher. You see? It's exactly the same thing. We have already some knowledge, so we know something. Like, let's say you're driving. Think about it. And you know how to get from one point to another. Okay? From point A to point B. You know how to get. But now you are in point C. Okay, and you don't know how to get to point A, but you know how to get to point B. Okay. So you might know the way, or you know, right? Because you know how to get there, and you already know that. That's exactly what we are doing here. Why is it kind of easy? You all understood. Oh, the queen will checkmate on h7. We need to get the king. So look at that. No need to waste time. We can put this funny position. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know the idea, right? I'll play this move, and this move, and this move, and this move, right? But I just know what I want to get. And this move. Ugh. And I can put like, well, no. Hopefully you don't have a mouse slip. Right? And now, checkmate. So this is tiny bit our idea of pattern recognition, right?
Wouldn't that be a good reputation?
Okay, it's black to move here. First of all, we will switch. We'll turn the board. So black's to play, and black has tiny bit trouble here. Maybe not tiny bit. No. Black has a very specific problem. Black has a very, very specific problem. Okay, let me put white king here. What is black going to play here? What's black's problem here? Yes?
The queen's being threatened.
Just the queen. So okay, so move the queen. What's the problem? Move the queen. But it's just the queen being threatened. So what else? The rook and the queen are being threatened, right? So black is basically under double attack. the queen and the rook are under attack. That is your problem. No, if the queen's under attack, okay, just move the queen. And now if you're just going to move the queen, the bishop will take the rook. Rook is 5 points, bishop 3. Kind of not so cool for black. So this is why queen d6 was what type of move in this position? An intermediate one. It's a check, forcing moves. Doesn't matter what white is going to play here. Move the rook and save the material. Okay, well, let's get kind of same position and see if we can have other ideas. Let's look at this position and black to play. Isabel, what will we play? Queen b5. And why would we play queen b5? So an intermediate move is going to be what? Check, captures, and creating threats, right? Big threat. So the way to save actually black's rook is by attacking the right rook. Yes?
I had another idea.
Okay.
Like
Queen
queen c6.
c6,
Because it's defending.
but it's not a bad idea. In a second we'll see that. It's not a bad idea. But what happens if I will take the rook?
Oh, you checkmate.
No. I'll take the rook.
You can take the queen.
The queen will take the queen, but
Oh, yeah.
the bishop is...
Defend the rook.
Exactly. Now, let's make it this way, you know? Here. Let's change the position tiny bit. But right idea, principally. Let's say this is the position and black to play here. This is the position and now it is black to play. Yes?
Rook to c6.
Rook to c6. Okay, that's a move. Which other move do we have? I want one other move. Yes?
Queen to d6.
But queen to d6, I'll just take the rook, no? Bishop will take the rook and you're kind of down material. Yes, Charlie?
Queen c6.
Queen c6. Okay, so we have rook c6 a move and queen c6. Now, one of those is really correct and the other one is kind of not. So, which one is correct? Rook c6 or queen c6? And why? It's not a coin flip and, you know, we choose. Which one is correct? Queen c6 or rook c6? Rook c6 or queen c6? Yes?
I think it's queen c6.
You think it's queen c6?
That would put the queen out of danger. Well,
That would put the queen.
entirely out of danger, but it would still be.
Yes?
If you move your queen over to c6, you can take their queen, but if you move the rook over, they'll take your queen for a trade. Black takes the queen, but the bishop gets extra material to go down to there's a knight.
So, okay, and you can...
It's better for
No, perfect, and perfect. Very, very good. And you should have said, like, just if we want to speak chess language, you would have said, instead of bishop would go down and take the knight, you would say bishop takes d8 or bishop capture knight, right? But perfect. Very, very good. Basically, what's your name? Elijah. What Elijah just said, look, basically followed what we have been screaming here for almost 3 months, right? Captures, captures, captures. No other way to think. If rook c6, capture, capture, capture. Black is up, white is up a piece. That's it. If there was no knight there, queen c6, rook c6 might not have made any difference. The last capture is the key. Very, very good. And that's why, Charlie, was this what you were thinking also? Yes? That the knight is going to be hanging here? For example, queen c6 is perfect because after take, the rook is going to get out of threat and capture back. If the knight was on f8, then I don't see any difference between rook c6. I mean, okay, we can discuss which move is better. Is it queen c6 or rook c6? But it will be from completely, queen c6 is better move here. But there is nothing to capture after it. Now, those positions are positions from kind of real normal positions. Nobody is holding a sign saying checkmate in one move or capture, and those are quite advanced positions. I mean, we kind of built it in the last many months. We're going to have even tiny bit more complicated position next class. But we have all elements in them, whether it is intermediate move, whether it is discover check, whether it is threatening checkmates. So today we had basically most of our class was somewhat, I would say, either pattern recognition or small differences. Forcing moves, right? Elijah was saying the right continuation. He just followed capture, 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 right? Winning it.